M-55S, the Stage 100 reward for Dark Realm season. It's a top tier era 2 independent medium tank, plays similar to other Eastern Alliance tank which have 5 degrees of gun depression, and it has the same gun as Pharaoh's Fury. So let's get started with the setup, as the equipment, consumable, and skills were reworked, and now the setup's going to be different for everyone, for every class, because some skills were removed, others were combined, and some were changed. For equipment, going with advanced loader, gun stabilizer, improved ventilation, and enhanced missile warning system, so we get an extra slot, but advanced loader was reduced from 10% bonus to 7.5 to your loading system. For consumable, going with advanced repair kit, med kit, and enhanced health patch kit. I have removed the enhanced ration and going with the health patch kit because health patch is the new meta. Now you can restore up to 20% your tank health while stationary. So if you have 4,000, you can restore up to 800 in 30 seconds. It will be halved. So 400 if you're moving. And of course, if you're actively in the fight and accidentally press it, if enemies shoot, it just stops. It gets wasted. So there's a more tactic involved. Once you stop the engagement, you have to slow down for 30 seconds so you can recharge. And I'm stacking it with supply conservation so I can use the health patch kit even more. For my commander skills, some of the skills are same, but some are slightly different. So bond leader, snapshot, armor angling, track mechanic, run and gun, dynamic driving, radio jamming, so I can get unspotted a little bit quicker. So 3 seconds. You have to keep in mind that Cold War default spotting will change from 5 seconds to 10, but you can get it to 7 if you have the radio jamming perk, and you can get it to 5 if you have smoke, but I'm not running smoke. And then we have supply conservation and off-road driving. Or looking at the armor model, it is, decent armor as you would expect. A tank with 5 degrees gun depression is of course a medium. You can bounce the regular shells as well as some missiles because it has that extra armor in the front of, we have a 100 mm plate, and then we have another plate of 30 mm. But you can still pen you. Your armor should work more or less than any other tank that has 5 degrees of gun depression. Of course, it's difficult to judge, but I feel the tank's a little bit stronger. Every tank's going to be a little bit stronger because light tanks camo was changed, and so was for tank destroyers. So they get spotted sooner, which means not only a light tank gets spotted sooner, they're relatively slower because the traction has been removed, and then they get stayed lit for longer, which means you have more time to react because they're slow. They get spotted sooner, they stay lit longer. So there's less surprising factor, which in turn has made mediums more strong, especially for if you're facing an average light tank player. For module damage, we have engine in the back and fuel tank in the front. We have ammo towards the right side of the hull, and then 4 crew members, 3 in the turret, and 1 driver in the hull. Looking at the statistics, of course, it's after the equipment I'm using. So 64 watt, 25 reverse, 15.65 horsepower, 2800 HP, solid for a medium tank. Of course, it is a top tier. Hull rotation 46, terrain resistance of 0.48, 0.53, and 1.32 respectively for firm, medium, and soft. So solid terrain resistance as well. Concealment 381, moving 347 stationary, but I'm not running any camo skills or equipment except of course the camo paint. And then the view range of 520. Turret rotation 33, accuracy during rotation is solid 0.77, beautiful accuracy. Elevation of 14, depression 5. Well, it is depressing to have that 5 degrees of depression actually. So reload of 7.36. Of course, everyone's reload is 15 to 20% slower now. Rate of fire 8.5, accuracy at 100.30, solid accuracy I would say. It's a little bit longer than every tank will have a worse accuracy, but I would say point is still solid. Accuracy during movement 0.93, aim time of 2, 50 shells. Standard premium is FSDS, and third is hash. Your DPM comes to 3749. The gun is same as Pharaoh's Fury, so 426 standard alpha, 494 premium, 250 hash, and your alpha is 460 for standard and premium, and 570 for hash. 150 module damage, shell velocity 1455 for standard, 1494 for premium, and 731 for hash. So just use premium and standard for the most part. You have a 60% silver earn rate, premium vehicle earn rate of 15%, and commander XP rate of 10%. And to say whether the tank is balanced or broken or weak, I would say it's better than balanced. It's decent. Not the tank itself, but the mediums in general that have offered this playstyle are better now than what they were yesterday or day before yesterday. So I would say definitely a good tank, but at the same time, there's so many of these tanks that are already there, but the tank is essentially free, so no reason not to get it and just have it in your garage, because who knows, in the future you might get this tank. as a duplicate from chest and get more gold. So no reason not to get this tank, because basic season pass is 2000 gold, and you can just make that back when you finish the season to the chest you earn as part of the season. So of course, if you can finish the season, even if it's the last day, make sure to buy the season pass. And if you can do 120 stages, you will get the skin for free as well, that usually cost 3000 gold. Now let's see what this tank does in the actual battle. I have two games. For the first one, I am in Nebelberg, so going in the middle. Of course, I'm playing in Platoon, and you will be able to see the power of Hull Patch Kit and why it is the meta. So the speed, as I said, it's everything is a little bit slower now. They take a little bit longer to turn because some of the skills and consumable were nerfs. For example, Bond Leader no longer 10%, it is 5, and food is also 5, and some a lot of the skills were removed as well. For example, steady aim is gone, and steady aim was very OP. It wasn't 10% base accuracy, it was 18% snapshot and 10% run and gun. So that's gone now, and that's why gun stabilizer is mandatory now more than ever, even if you didn't have it before. But at the same time, it's easier for you to hit the targets because there's no traction. Tanks will be slower, they will be spotted sooner, so you'll have more time. So everything balances out, and it provides a slower and more enjoyable gameplay. And Cold War is closer to World War II than it ever was, and anyone who didn't like Cold War for their fast-paced gameplay might enjoy it more now. Just wait for the terrain resistance changes to come in, and then there's no reason for anyone to hate Cold War after that. I don't think there would be no complaints I would be expecting or accepting. Even I don't like Cold War for various reasons, but they have made significant improvements. Now coming back to this tank, in the beginning shot that Jaguar rocket Yak Panzer twice, and then the Ignis as well, and Hydra is spotted at the back as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you are careful, you can still stay spotted or unspotted if you're using the bushes, but if you just peek open, you will get spotted and stay spotted for longer, depending on what equipment or what consumable if you're running or not. So for example, if I'm running radio jamming and opponent is running the one that keeps you lit for longer, which is comms expert, it cancels out my radio jamming for you could stay spotted for a maximum of 10 seconds if both you and the person spotting you is using the right skills. 2800 damage, and now going forward, crossing, not spotted. Well, spoke too soon. Now I'm spotted. It's T10B penned me. That's the problem. The lower plate and the 5 degrees of gun depression is just annoying. It's just annoying. Yeah, you have the armor, but at the same time, that armor is difficult to use, especially when you have to use your gun depression a little bit as your lower plate get exposed. So I took 2 pens, 1025 damage. Now I'm gonna just park right here and time to recharge. I'm moving. That's a mistake actually, because it's half when you're moving, right? So 28% at 20% would be 560 if I'm calculating it correctly. Yep, I just have to wait. But if I move, it's gonna be 280. So there's no reason, you can be disengaged for 30 seconds, and it's also good because it slows down the game. But at the same time, now it's even more dangerous to leave a guy that's one shot, even if he's running away. So even if you have to take a shot or two, finish that guy, because he's gonna start recharging, and he does it 4 times. He might almost be full health towards the end of the game, and that's what's gonna happen. Your team HP bar that you're using or seeing up front, they're going to keep increasing. You're like, okay, enemy has 70%, we have 80, and all of a sudden they have 80 and you have 70. So confirming kill is more important than ever, because everyone, I'm just telling you, everyone is going to run Hull Patch Kit. So you better run it as well, which would also mean you could have potential for higher damage games. Struggling with gun depression over here, trying to peek and getting penned in return. 5000 damage so far. Our team is winning by 25%. I'm waiting for my Hull Patch Kit to recharge again so that I can use that juicy HP. Rocket Jack Panzer gets spotted and penned. And then Magad staying continuously spotted. It's no longer what it was a few days ago. Yeah, the tank feels a little bit slower, as I said, turning, but that's with every tank. Everything is a little bit slower. The reload is longer, so I'm still getting used to it, because with muscle memory you would peak, not when I'm reloading, but I would peak similar to how I would be reloading before they implemented the stages. There are going to be more changes coming in that's going to make things even more different, but so far I found it very enjoyable to play even these kind of mediums. Before I would be scared of the lights or even the TDs, but that is no longer the case. TD domination will or is has reduced significantly, even in Cold War or even the light, but it can go both ways. So if you want to make use of the light, you have to be even more careful. So T-80B trying to peek, trying to get an angle here. I am recharging. Didn't want to move, but my platoon had peeked, so I couldn't fire. So that was not great. Missed my shot. T-55M 2B goes down by the T-80. I think it's the same one that penned me earlier. This time I have to aim properly. He gets triple tapped and deleted. That was a quick and hopefully painful death. He's back to garage, 6400 damage. One tank remaining, and now just pushing forward. Have to be careful while going down so I don't lose my HP. Another thing I do notice is if someone's running really fast and I'm trying to aim at them, because we don't have the steady aim, the snapshotting has definitely reduced, because look at that shell where it went. And I think it would have been a little bit closer to the tank if we had steady aim. At least that's what I feel. So you have to aim, you make sure you're gonna hit that tank. You have to take your time more than you had to. Nonetheless though, 6800 damage with some assist, securing a victory. 6890 to be exact, and close to 200,000 silver. And I did use a lot of standard shells as well. And this game using 20 standard because it's enough. Like standard is fine for era 2. The reason I say that is most of the tanks gonna be mediums, and you don't really need that extra premium penetration. Of course, if you're using a heavy tank or facing a heavy tank, or fighting against an FV4211, you would need premium just to be extra sure. If you're facing heavies in general, but for the most part, because I'm using, or they're gonna be medium tank that I'm fighting, the standard is fine. It's more than enough. It is era 2. You don't even need premium. And of course, if they're light tank, why would you, right? And if you're an expert, you can even make the hash work against light. I can't, but you can. The 250 hash is solid, but just very, very slow. So going to a position where I can farm the cross, use that 5 degrees gun depression without exposing myself much. And there is the first medium. Trying to only expose my turret, and that's what I was talking about. The armor is decent. You can get some bounces. There's the first block. It didn't register it. It's always weird because sometimes it registers your bounce, the other time no, depending on where it hit, if it was absorbed or deflected. The light tank tried to cross. I fired, but he stopped. He juked me. I think that was RDF, and it just takes a little bit longer. Brad tried to autocannon me, but failed. Meanwhile, I'm also missing shots so that RDF is playing peekaboo with me, and of course winning it so far. I can't really shoot Gao because I don't have the gun depression. I'll end up exposing myself, but I can shoot these guys at range safely. So far I have lost 3 HP, and safe to say I received significant or decent amount of shots, even the single shot as well as some of the autocannon as well. So finally RDF pens me out of all the tanks, but I do return the favor. 2000 damage. We are winning by 24% and 4 tanks. Looking for the opportunity. Looks like they're not moving, so I decided to push forward here, trying to go through the middle, making a cross. No one is there. No one's really paying attention to me, which means I could do whatever I want. In a normal situation, whenever any engagement begins, I would activate food, and I still accidentally press the button and end up activating the health patch kit. I just have to be careful and adapt that I am no longer using food, at least in the Cold War. In World War II, of course, I will be using food because there's still the active bonus. So tanks are running away. I am chasing them. No one's paying attention to me. I wish I had autocannon at this point. I would have shredded these guys. I would have shredded tanks like Forad or Brennus. They are obviously strong to begin with, but now even better, right? The tank with autocannons, mediums with autocannons. So Gao going around a casual stroll, exposing his side. Unfortunately, it just takes too long for me to reload. As I said, 15 to 20% longer reload time for a single shot tank, slightly less for non-loaders, of course, because most of the time they're clipping. 6 tanks remaining now, pushing towards or going far back towards our base to clean up the last few guys. But do let me know in comments, are you looking forward to this tank? What do you think about the setup that I'm using? What's your recommendation? What should I use? What should I swap? What's your go-to skill? What's your go-to consumable, or what's your go-to equipment? How do you feel about these changes? Are you upset? Are you happy? Do you like the slower pace? Do you miss the fast pace? Do you like the YOLO Wolfpack mentality, or are you a fan of a strategic based gameplay? Do you like that you get time to react and make plays, as opposed to you liked when enemy did not get a time to react and you just overwhelmed them with numbers? So what do you think? So there are 3 tanks remaining. ADT running away. Didn't realize that I was ammo ranked, and I didn't even use health patch kits. So you have to be really careful with health patch kits. Sometimes you don't always have to have a time to wait, but if you don't, you can just recharge while be active. So that is it for this video. Thanks for watching, and once again, let me know in the comments for this the new tanks as well as the new season, as it is huge, and what's your best thing or the worst thing you've hate about the season. And if you haven't joined a regiment, check out our community regiment, link in the description, so you don't miss out on extra rewards which you get while being part of a regiment. So thanks for watching. That's it for this video. There's one tank remaining. We should be able to kill him shortly, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.